Hey everyone, it's been a long day, but a good day. I'm here in Denver at the conference. It's off to a good start. Also, I wanted to point out that your timelines are off to a good start. I just was able to finish scoring the ID step for Unit 2, much later than I typically like to do. I had a few comments that I wanted to make, and some of the feedback that I gave you, I also referenced this video that I'm making right now that you're watching. um, to help you to get an idea of some of the things you could do to improve as we move forward. Um, by and large, please remember that um, you need to post the timeline assignment both to Blackboard and to Tiki-Taki on the timeline. If you have any questions about how to post to Tiki-Taki, please review the video tutorial that I included in the timeline tab. There's also a link to it in the timeline instructions themselves, so it's in both of those places. If you have questions about that, please do ask, and I'll be happy to help. Overall, there were just a few of us that had trouble with the timeline in terms of Tiki-Taki working correctly. Um, that does happen from time to time, and I apologize for that. This timeline assignment it's been really good. I've gotten really good feedback about it, and so I've figured that the um, sometimes problems with Tiki-Taki are overweighed or uh, outdone, whatever the word is I'm looking for this late at night, um, by the value of the assignment. So I do apologize for that. If you run into problems, always just send me an email, let me know. And always complete your work in your Word document that you can send to Blackboard, and you will be covered. You won't have to worry about missing deadlines or anything like that. Also, make sure that the image that you bring into Tiki-Taki embeds correctly there. So if you click Save and you just get a blank box, that means that either the image that you've chosen doesn't work with Tiki-Taki and you should choose a different one. That happens sometimes. Or that means that you didn't um, copy the URL for the image itself, but you may have copied the URL for the web page. So if you copy the URL that's up in the browser bar, that won't work. That's the URL for the entire web page. But instead, if you right click or control click if you're on a Mac, when your cursor is on the image itself, you'll have an option that says copy image address or something to that effect. If you choose that one and then paste it into Tiki-Taki, that will work. Also, please use that link box to paste the URL to your outside source as well. Both of those things are covered in the video tutorial, so again, if you have questions, please review that. And then if you have questions beyond that, do ask me. The last thing I wanted to comment on is historical significance. Many of you did a great job, actually I think everyone did a pretty great job of describing the person, place, event that you chose for the timeline. So you explained, who this was, where this was, when it was, all of those kinds of things. What was sometimes missing, however, was the analysis of why that matters, the analysis of why the Pueblo Revolt was important. And I'm not saying the person that did the Pueblo Revolt one did it wrong. That was just an example that I grabbed out of thin air. But again, if you haven't answered the question of why does this matter, why is this important to New Mexico history, in very specific terms, you haven't addressed historical significance. So again, this is that step where you go beyond just kind of laying out the facts and the course of events in the person's life or in whatever it was that you were describing, but instead you explain why this matters and why it's important to us now. There are a lot of different ways to do that. That can be done from different perspectives, but it should be done in a specific way. It's not enough, for example, to just say that the Pueblo Revolt forever altered New Mexico history or it forever changed the course of New Mexico history. It's true, but it doesn't actually tell us anything. It doesn't tell us how it changed the course of New Mexico history. So make sure you just add in that explanation of this is how and why Juan de Oñate was such a significant figure in New Mexico history, even though he was brutal and he's so controversial. So hopefully those examples help a little bit. If you have questions about historical significance, please ask, and I'll be happy to help. Last thing, this video is going a little too long, but the last thing I wanted to mention is that tomorrow, Friday the 6th, is my busiest day at the conference. I'm doing the teaching workshop in the morning. I'm presenting some research in the afternoon. So I will be less accessible tomorrow than I typically am, than I even was today. So I apologize for that, but I'll make sure to answer any questions that you have that you send to me as soon as I can, and I will provide feedback on the work that you're doing that's due tonight in just a few minutes as